على أشرف الخلق أجمعين محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. The subject of fiqh, and we're discussing about the dress of the people who offer the prayer, and we continue the subject that mustahab, things about the dress of the person who offering the prayer. There are certain dress is mustahab, which is mentioned in issue 873. Say a number of things are mustahab for the dress of a person who offers prayers. Some of these are turban, along with its final fold passed under the chin. The turban is mustahab, but unfortunately nowadays rarely used even by Arabs. Only ulama they use a turban, but ordinary people, unfortunately, they are not using it. Though it was said that the turban, al-amaim tijan al-Arab, they are like the a crown for the Arab, but is not used. And when it is used, they take part of it below the chin and put it on the left shoulder. They call that part is mustahab hanak, to bring it down, Well, this is rarely used nowadays. However, it's good to know the issue itself, The second one is loose garment on the shoulder, aba. Well, like this is the aba, which is a loose garment which cover the shoulder till below the house, till the legs. That is also mustahab. And the third one is white dress. Well, the dress may be colored, but the white one is mustahab. And cleanest dress. Actually, it will come that the dirty dress is makruh to pray with it, so has to be clean, or the most clean dress we have is mustahab to use at time of the prayers. Also, use of perfume. Perfume will give a nice smell for the person, and that is mustahab always, but especially at time of the prayer, said using perfume is mustahab. And wearing of an aqiq or agate, a ring, the red one like this is called aqiq or agate. That is, to use it is good. Actually, the real aqiq is the one which is from Yemen, not the artificial which is made nowadays, the real one, pure one, and called al-aqiq al-yamani, Yemeni agate. And it is said that when somebody pray with that ring in his hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept his prayers and fulfill his supplication. So it is important, and it is always mustahab to have it on fingers, but specifically at time of the prayer, that is additional mustahab. These are some of the mustahabat. There are many others. We come to the other subject, makruh things. As you know, makruh means not recommended, but it is not haram, but not recommended. Certain items are makruh for the dress of one who prays. Issue 874, to wear a black dress, So black dress by itself is makruh, generally, unless we wear it for azadari of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Other than that is makruh. Well, on special cases, like the women, they might have that dress if their husband dies. But at time of the prayer, it is mentioned, it is makruh. And second one, a dirty dress. Well, in some of the hadith, they said the dress itself glorify Allah, yusabbihu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the dress become dirty, will stop glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if one always have a clean dress, that dress will remember Allah and glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyhow, at time of the prayer, if it is dirty, then it is makruh. And third, a tight dress. The dress is recommended, as mentioned before, to be loose, not to be tight. A tight dress at time of the prayer is makruh. Or to put on a dress of a person who is a drunkard. Well, at times the people used to borrow the dress. They did not have a dress. They borrow from their neighbors a dress, or brother will borrow from the brother. The dress was similar to each other. So in those cases, if somebody who is drinking wine, it is makruh to borrow his dress. I mean, if his dress is najis, of course you cannot pray with it. But even if it is tahir, because he is a drunkard, it is makruh to ask him for his dress. Or of one who is careless about najasat. Again, to take a dress of someone who is not caring much to make his dress purified always. If there is any urine or stool or blood or any najis thing, he will clean it. So you know that he is not very much careful about purification, then it is makruh to ask for his dress. Similarly, to wear a dress which has images printed or drawn on it to keep the buttons open, you know. If there are pictures drawn on the dress, then that dress also makruh to wear. Also makruh to have a ring which has a picture in it, you know. Now the picture are two types. Some are only printed on it has no thickness, and some are with thickness. I mean, like if it is made on the ring, then naturally it has a thickness. The thickness become, they call it surah. The printed one is only print, has no thickness. But here he said, well, if it is printed, also is makruh. To keep the buttons open, buttons of the dress, to keep it open, that is makruh. It's nice to close it. To wear a ring which has images engraved on it. Again, not only the dress, but even the ring which has images engraved on it. Some put the face of a lion or something like that. There are shapes on it. That is makruh. Well, this is not haram, as I said, but makruh. And as you see how Islam cares about the dress of the people who offer the prayer, it needs to be clean, neat, if possible white, with perfumes, so that it is white, so that when he go to ruku' sujood, his body will not be shown in that. It to be white, and it has to have aba on it. We'll give it a special etiquette for the prayer, so that will increase concentration of the person at time of the prayer toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Naturally, if somebody is in a hurry, in rush, is in office and so on, he doesn't have all that dress, then it is not haram. You can pray with any dress to cover the body, especially the private parts, but it is, as I said, some are mustahab, recommended, and some are makruh, to be avoided as much as possible. Now we come to another subject, the place where prayer should be prayed. The place itself has a lot of conditions which should be known. There are actually 7 conditions. There are 7 conditions for the place where one should offer prayers. The first condition, the place where the prayers are offered should be mubah. If a person prays on a usurped property, then as an obligatory precaution, his prayers are void. Even if he prays on a carpet or a couch or similarly objects. However, there is no harm in offering prayers under a usurped roof or a usurped tent. The place where we offer prayer should be mubah, means allowed to pray, not usurped from people. Now, if the roof is usurped, I am not praying on the roof, praying on the floor, so it is okay. If the tent is usurped, I am not sitting on the tent unless there is a flooring for the tent, then I am on the floor of the tent. That is not allowed. But if it is only a cover, that cover I am not touching. I am touching the floor itself, so the floor is not usurped. But in this usurped thing, many points will come, which is discussed here. I can just explain them. You can read them in details, but just to have an idea about it. If somebody goes to house of a friend, if he doesn't know his friend agrees that he pray there or not, then he is not allowed to pray. He has to get permission of the person that I am praying in your house. Do you agree? If he said yes, is okay, then it is allowed. If he say yes, but I know by heart he is not agreeing with that, then he say one should not pray there. I mean, he feels shy, but for a reason or another, he is not agreeing that you pray there. Now, if you have a house shared with another one, two people, they owe one house. Two brothers, they have one house. Now, one has to get permission of his brother to offer the prayer. I mean, his brother may give general permission always, but in case sometimes there is dispute about the house, and well, he is staying there till he gets the final result of the court or a judgment or whatever it is. Now, half of that house does not belong to him, to his brother, and half is not from here to there. No, it is mixed in all the house. So wherever you stay, half of it is belonging to your brother, for example, or your partner. Now, if you are working in a shop of somebody, and he is not agreeing that you spend your time of prayer there, so naturally he is usurped. Now, you cannot pray in that shop. Now, another condition comes. If somebody dies, and he said 1/3 of my property to be given, let us say, to the orphans. Now, when he dies, 1/3 of the house will belong to orphans. Now, here you are not allowed to pray in that house, even if you are one of the inheritors, because you inherit the other 2/3. From the other 2/3 you have a share. This 1/3 is not yours, belong to the orphans, So it's not allowed, But if the inheritors, if somebody owes money to people, naturally people have share with him on that house, because they owe the person. Now, if the wasi, his elder son who is executor of the will, if he guarantees that I pay the money for all the creditors, I will pay them, then it is okay. Otherwise, like that, it's not allowed. Because you see, again, you have partner, and your partner should agree. Another condition which comes, if somebody is not paying khums of his money or zakat of his money, and he buy a house with money where khums to be paid. You see the khums, as it will come inshallah when we discuss khums, it belongs to the money which is additional to your usually expenses after 1 year. Now, if 1 year comes your time, I mean, you can fix any time for your khums, and you have, let us say, this year $10,000 extra money. You have spent whatever you have spent for your livelihood in the last year. And you collect every year $10,000, $10,000, $10,000 till become $50,000. And then you buy a house or pay a deposit for a house. So that money you have not paid khums of it. So now 20% of the house belong to the owner of the khums. Well, 10% is for poor Sayyids and 10% for Imam, Sahmi Imam and Sahmi Salat. The 20% of the khums is divided into two. Half of it is for Sayyid, half of it for them. So now they are your partner in that house. If they are your partners, naturally you have no permission from them, and you cannot get permission from all Sayyids in the world to say that I am using this house, and they may not agree, so it's not possible. So again here there is, ishkal. Some ulama said your prayer is void, Some ulama said it is not void because the debt will be on you, not on the money itself. And you are responsible, but that money you can use it, according to some ulama. But some ulama, Ayatullah Al-Sistani is on that favor. He said no, it is on the money itself. You see, the difference is that sometimes I owe the owner of the homes $10,000 for that example of $50,000. It has nothing to do with this $50,000. I owe them $10,000. I may give it from any other $10,000. So it is some debt on my shoulder, on my neck. I have to pay it. So that $50,000, if I use it, it is okay. No problem. Though Khums was not paid, because Khums will be transferred to my responsibility. That view of late Ayatullah Khoui was that. But some other ulama, and it looks Ayatullah Sistani is of that view, he said, no, Khums is on the money itself, not on your shoulder, on the money. This $50,000, $10,000 of them, part of them belong to owner of the Khums. So it has to be taken out. If you use it, then you are usurping it. And any usage, if you buy a dress, then that dress is usurped. If you go with this address to Hajj, you pray there and Hajj, your Hajj will be batal. If you buy a house, then the house is usurped, you cannot pray there. You see the problems which come? So when you say the place to be mubah, means from all those aspects to be mubah. These are an examples of it. We come to another example. There are certain mosques or Hussainiyas or let us say schools made for certain people. I mean, mosque, they said you can offer wudu here, and if you want to pray in the mosque. So now using the toilet and performing wudu without praying in that mosque is not allowed. Of course, here is not about the prayer, about the wudu, but about the ghasab, usurping. Now, if a school, religious school, let us say, it is made for certain people, only for the students who are in that school. Now, people from the street cannot enter the school to go to use the toilet, for example, and offer wudu or even pray there, because it is not made for them. How you pray there? Okay, if you enter as guest of one of the students and offer the prayer at his room, and he allows you to pray at his room, fine. That is, you are using that room of a student with permission of the student. But without permission of any student, you just enter the school and offer your prayer there. Now, that school was made waqf, it is endowment for the students only, not for outsiders. The students can pray anywhere in the school, fine, but not you as an outsider from the street, you enter and offer your prayer, because that is not public place. Okay, if you go to mosque, fine, mosque is public place, but there is made special trust for certain people. So these are some points about ghasb. You say it should not be ghasb, not be usurped. All these were mentioned actually here. I have just explained them in general. We come to the second condition, issue 889. The place for prayers should not have such a vigorous movement which would make normal standing, ruku' or sajda impossible. In fact, as an obligatory precaution, it should not prevent the body from being at ease. But if one is forced to pray at such places due to shortage of time or any other reason, like in a car or a ship or on a train, then one should try to remain still and to maintain the direction of Qibla as much as possible. And if the vehicle move away from the direction, he should return to Qibla. You know, if somebody wants to offer a prayer, but he is not at home, he is riding a bus or in a train or in a ship. Now, first of all, he has to make sure that his body is stable. If his body is moving, shaking, that is not allowed. He has to wait till the time the train, let us say, is stable, or he should wait till the train will stop, if possible. Because one of the conditions at the time of the prayer is the body should be stable, should not be moving. Now, if by chance I am reading the prayer, let us say Surah Al-Hamd or Qul Huwallahu Ahad or Ruku' or Sujood, and then sudden movement happened, I should repeat that part. I did not pray intentionally. I was praying and suddenly movement happened. So that part is not acceptable. I should repeat it. If it is dhikr, I should repeat it. If it's a time of ruku', I should continue my ruku' and repeat dhikr of ruku', because when I was shaky, the dhikr of ruku' was not right. And if it is sujood or tashahud or at any position. So it is important to be stable wherever you are. Second problem is you have to face Qibla. Now, if a car moves right and left, then when it moves away of Qibla, you have to turn your body toward the Qibla. If a train is moving and suddenly change, then you have to turn yourself toward the Qibla. Or if you are in a ship, for example, going straight, then you know the Qibla. If your ship turns right or left, you have to turn your body. Stop recitation of the prayer and then turn your body toward Qibla and then continue recitation. So here he said the place should be stable for the time of the prayer. If it is not stable, then you have to be stable as much as you can. If you are forced, naturally you have to offer your prayer in ship, because few days you are in sea and it will not stop. So you have to try to preserve your stability as much as you can. Issue 890, you said there is no harm in offering prayers in a car or a boat or on railway, train or other vehicles while they are motionless, and if they do not cause excessive swaying to the body when they are in motion, one can pray in them. So if the train is stopping or if the bus is stopping, there is no harm to pray there, not necessary to be on the ground. Okay, on the ship possible or on the train. But if it is moving, it should be not vigorously moving right and left, so you keep your stability. Issue 891, prayers offered on a heap of wheat or barley on any other similar thing which cannot remain steady is void. Now, if the ground that you pray on it is not steady, is not fixed, then it is not allowed. Well, some people at time of agriculture, they have a heap of grain or barley there. So on that, because it is not stable, then you cannot pray there. Or nowadays, maybe you have a heap of a sponge, you have a thick sponge, but then when you stop there, you are not fixed. Then the prayer is not allowed. So the floor has to be steady and fixed, not shaky. We come to the third condition. This was the second condition. Third condition. A person should offer prayers at a place where he sees the possibility of completing the prayers. To pray at a place where one cannot complete the prayers because of strong winds or heavy rain or a teeming crowd will render namaz void, even if one somehow manage to finish the prayer. Said at the beginning of the prayer, you should have possibility that you can complete the prayer. If heavy rain is coming and you know that at middle of the prayer you will not be able to finish it, then to start with it by itself is not right, because you have no intention of praying complete prayer. Or if people in the street where people are moving and you pray at a place where people will push you and you will not be able to complete your prayer, then here is not allowed. The prayer is not right. And so on, if it is in a street and cars are coming. So you should pray in a place that from beginning you have possibility that you will be able to complete your prayer, so that you start with your prayer. Issue 892, if a person offers a prayer at a place where it is forbidden to stay, like under a roof which is about to collapse, his prayers are in order, though he will have committed a sin. Now here there are two issues, You have to think about your safety. So if you think that the roof might fall, you are not supposed to be there, because you are responsible of yourself and protecting yourself. The roof may fall at any time, so you should not come under that roof. But now if you came under that roof and you did sin by coming, but you offered your prayer, is your prayer is allowed or not? He said your prayer is all right, because nothing against the prayer, but what you have done is haram. So that haram will not make the prayer void. The act is haram, but your prayer is all right. Act means praying under a roof which might fall. That is haram, but your prayer is right, and nothing will affect the prayer itself. So it is two things. You may have done a haram act, but it will not affect your prayer. Issue 893, to pray on an object upon which it is haram to step or sit, like a carpet upon which the name of Allah is drawn or written, will render prayers void, if the action is meant to displease Allah. Certain places, certain people may write name of Allah on place, Now if you move in it, is regarded as an insult, disrespect. So you see, if a place like that, which is regarded as disrespect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you are not allowed to pray on that. You put papers of the Holy Quran and you stop on it and pray, So it is disrespect to the Holy Quran, so your prayer is not right on that place. We come to the fourth condition. The ceiling of the place where one pray should not be so low that one may not be able to stand erect, or should the place be so small that there may be no room for performing ruku' or sajdah. Now you see, at time of the prayer it is wajib to stand in the first, second, third, fourth rak'at. Now if the ceiling is low and you have to bow, you cannot stand, then you are not allowed to pray there. Or if when you do ruku', it is so tight that ruku' will not be full. Or when you go to sujood, your knee will not be on the floor. You are so near each other that the knee will not be on the floor. So that naturally is not allowed. So your prayer is not right. So it should be enough that you stand and your ruku' and sujood be a proper way. Of course, that is willingly if you do it, but if, God forbid, you are in some jails, like the jails of some dictators, they make it intentionally tight, and you have no option, that is something else, But what I mean, willingly, if you pray at a place, under the stair, which is very tight, small, you say, no, you go and pray on a wide place where you can have proper prayer, at proper standing, proper ruku' and proper sujood. Issue 895, we say one should not offer prayers in front of the graves of the Holy Prophet and the Holy Imams if it entails irreverence, otherwise there is no harm in it. You know, when you go for the pilgrims and visit to the Holy Prophet or the Imams, there is a darih. They said you cannot pray in front of it because it's regarded as disrespect to the Imam, unless you are very far, in which is not regarded as disrespect. Or there is a wall between you, because there are so many other areas around when there is a wall, so you are not directly near the grave, you know, you are in front of the grave, for example, but there is a wall behind you, separate your standing and the grave, so there is no disrespect. But if you are at the same place and you turn your back toward the Imam, you say that is not allowed. You know, that is additional point is mentioned here. Which come to the fifth condition. If the place where one wishes to pray is najis, it should not be so wet that its moisture would reach the body or the dress of the person praying. But if the place where one places one's forehead while performing sajda is najis, the prayers will be void, even if that place is dry. And the recommended precaution is that the place where one offers prayers should not be najis at all. You know, if you are praying on a carpet or on a moquette or on a floor, any floor, if that is najis and is wet, naturally your dress will be najis. And we said your dress should be tahir at time of the prayer, so naturally that will make your prayer void. But if it is a dry, when you pray on it, it is a carpet which is a dry, and you pray on it, it will not transfer najasat to your body. It is okay, though as a recommended precaution you should not pray that, but it is not obligatory. But we come to the place of sujood, like the sujdega, or if you have prayer mat, or you are putting a wood or a paper or a stone or a clay, a place where you put sujood. If that is najis and dry, when you do sujood, is that allowed also? Said no. The place of sujood must be tahir, even if it is dry, and even if it does not transfer najasat to the body, but is not allowed. So you say, mahallul sujood, the place of where you put your forehead, that should be tahir, even if it is dry, even if it doesn't transfer najasat, but still it should be tahir, otherwise the prayer is void. But the other place where you put your hand or you put your legs or the toes, if that is, let us say, najis, but is dry and will not transfer najasat, as I said, like carpet, for example, and it is dry, then it is okay, though it is not recommended. As a recommended precaution, that also should be tahir. We come to the sixth condition. As an obligatory precaution, women should stand behind men while praying. At least her place of sajda should be in line with his thighs when in sajda. He said the women to pray behind the men, but if they are in one line, the place of sujood of the women at least should be where the knees of the man is there. So the sujood of the man will be in the front of the women, but she is, let us say, half his body is behind. Or if she has to be away, say 10 dhira. Dhira is the hand, you know, like this. It is about 45 centimeter, or let us say half a meter. So 10 dhira, about 4.5 or 5 meters distance between men and women, then it is okay. Or if there is a curtain or a barrier behind them, then it is okay. This is if they are praying in one line at one place. But if the woman prays second story, for example, which is open, and she is in one line with the men, it is okay. Like here is open, and the men will cover all the men, and then there is a balcony, so the women are in one line of the men, maybe in front of some of the men, but they are higher, not at the same level. He said it is okay. Like in some of the mosques, you know, there is an opening, so the women can see Imam of the mosque, and they may come in one line with the men, but they are higher on the second story. So he said that is okay. But if they are on the same level, so the women either should be on the back of the men, or at least there should be a barrier like a curtain or something like that. Here he made it as an obligatory precaution, because some of the ulama, they said it is recommended the women should be behind, otherwise even if they say together their prayer is not batil. But according to Ayatullah Al-Sistani, said an obligatory precaution. We come to the seventh condition: the place where a person places his forehead while in sajda should not be higher or lower than a span of 4 fingers when compared to the place of thighs or toes of his feet. The details of this rule will be given in the rules relating to sajda. Because we are talking about the place here, so he mentioned the place should be steady. If there is a sheep, the place where sujood is lower than a span of 4 fingers. These are 4 fingers. So let us say it's about 3 inches. The span 3 inches, 4 fingers. So if it is higher or lower, 4 fingers is not allowed. So the place of sujood and the place of the knees and the place of the toes should be not higher and not lower of a span of 4 fingers, means about 3 inches. That is one of the conditions. He said the details will come when he discuss a time of sujood, because that will be part of sujood and what are the conditions of sujood. So this is the 7th condition. Maybe there are a few more points. For a non-mahram, issue 898, for a non-mahram man and women to be at a place where there is a possibility of falling into sin is haram. As a recommended precaution, one must avoid praying at such places. If a man and women who are not related to each other, they are non-mahram, if they are at a place where there is possibility that they may fall in haram, to stay there is haram, and also to pray there, he said, is not allowed. So the prayer is not allowed, and to stay is not allowed, because they should not be at a place where there is possibility they will fall in haram thing. He put it as a recommended precaution that the prayer should not be there, not an obligatory precaution, but as a recommended precaution. Their staying is haram, but their prayer may be all right. But as a recommended precaution, they should not even pray there. Well, issue 899, this is another practical problem. Prayers at a place where musical instruments, etc., is being played is not void, but hearing or performing it is a sin. Now, sometimes you pray at the airport, or there is a restaurant in the highway, and you go to a restaurant when there is singing or so there. Well, to listen to that is haram, but to pray is all right. That will not make your prayer void. Your prayer is all right, but you should not listen. If you do not listen, then it is okay. If you listen, you made haram thing, but your prayer is not void. So there are again here 2 laws. To listen to haram thing is haram, but will not affect your prayer. Your prayer is all right, but your listening is haram. But if you do not listen, do not care to listen, you are not having in your mind to listen. Okay, sound is there, but you are not concentrating on the sound, then it is not haram. If you concentrate on the sound, you enjoy the ghana which is there, the singing which is there, that is haram, but your prayer is all right. You see, there's 2 different issues. That is haram, but has nothing to do with your prayer. Well, issue 900 and 901, it said for those who go to Hajj, the obligatory precaution is that in normal situation, obligatory prayers should not be offered in the Kaaba and on the roof of the Holy Kaaba, but there will be no harm if one is forced to do so. You see, at time of the prayer, Kaaba should be in front of us. That is an obligatory thing. Now, if somebody goes to Hajj and he rides the roof of Kaaba, so when he pray, naturally part of the Kaaba will be behind him, the other part is in front. So he is not facing all Kaaba. So you say, as such, that should not be done unless one is forced, no place, and so on. And if somebody is inside, sometimes they open the door of Kaaba, the people go inside Kaaba. Now again, when you pray inside Kaaba, part of the Kaaba will be your back, part be your front. So you are not facing Kaaba all. So he said for the obligatory prayers that is not allowed. But for recommended prayers is okay. Actually it is recommended to pray at each corner of the Kaaba from inside if you get a chance to enter and pray there. Because as I said, at time of the prayer, Kaaba should be all in front of you. If you are on the roof of Kaaba or inside of the Kaaba, Kaaba is not in front of you, so that is not allowed willingly, unless you are forced because of too many people and you have no option. That is sufficient. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi al-tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum.